everyone else who is seemingly asleep still or not awake once we get far enough away, or whether it will just be us. So I don't quite understand how that's going to happen, but it's something like that. And it may be an issue of survival. Really, those who don't awaken may not survive. That's a distinct possibility. And what I found is there's very little you can do to awaken those around you. It's a natural process that once you see somebody who's awakening, it's a very good deed to help pull them through to the other side. But, up is down, and I wrote a poem once, if you want to hear it. It's about me and my wife actually going through this process, called Standing on the Ceiling. About how one day I wake up and I'm standing on the ceiling. I don't know what I did. I got out of bed and I'm on the ceiling. Everyone else is on the ground. And I told my wife to grab my hand in the poem, and I say, hey, pull me back down. This is ridiculous. What a silly situation to be in. And I accidentally pull her up too, and then we're both there and a little disgruntled. But anyway, email me or I'll post that at the ufozone.ning.com, the Standing on the Ceiling poem. It has some foul language in it, so I can't read it on the air. It breaks their F word rule. But those of you who've been through this understand that. But essentially, that's what's going to be happening, is the entire Earth is going to be slipping across this gravitational plane and possibly into a different dimension. Most likely we will. The question is, will we notice? How noticeable will that be? Because we'll be coming from one side of the galaxy to the other. We'll be passing through that plane where the black hole becomes antimatter and vice versa. But the point being, the reason why we can expect more earthquakes and more change is because there's so much gravity around that galactical plane. Not only from the explosions / suction of the black hole going on, depending on which side of it we're on. Not only from that, but there's a lot of stars that get held up in that gravity around there. Not all of them move quite as much as we do with the up and down motion. Pretty much everything does, but there's a lot of stars that we're closer to that we don't really understand that we're closer to, because this whole time, science-wise, we've been looking at it as though we've just been going around and around this enormous black hole in the middle. While at the same time, in reality, we've been going up and down as well. There's a whole other dimensional plane to it. So all of this extra gravity is going to be a tremendous pull on the Earth, and there's a tremendous squeeze that our sun's going through. If you watch the sun closely, and don't watch it too close, obviously, it'll burn your retinas, but if you take a quick glance at it, you'll see the change in it. If you look at some of the NASA images of it, the ones that aren't doctored, not only will you see UFOs flying around it recently, which is pretty freaking interesting. I've got some pictures of that too I should put up on UFO Zone. I'll definitely do that. But you'll see that it's going through some very, very interesting changes as well, and that's because of all the extra gravity around from what's going on at the center of our galaxy, and from all the other gravity of all these stars that are kind of hung up in this area. But those are the basic elements of 2012, and that's what's going to cause the massive Earth changes. Is a pole shift possible? Einstein sure thought so. And really, pole shifts in our history, as we look at our geological record, are the only logical explanation for a lot of things. So is that possible? Yeah. What happens in that? I don't know. Does all the water slosh around? Will we have massive tsunamis and tidal waves? I see that as a possibility. I see almost anything as a possibility, but I genuinely do not believe it'll be the end of the world. So expect to see that as we go through these 2012 changes. Expect to see continued changes politically, socially, economically. We're going to have several tough years here economically, and like I said, at this point, I know I'm a leader in this. Even though I'm young, I talk to a lot of older, very smart people, and I listen closely. But I'm about 30 years old, and I am young, and I realize youth, it makes you make a lot of mistakes. But being a born leader at the time I'm at, I know now is the time to step forward, and I know there's a lot of information I can help people with, just like everybody has their gifts. But economically, the system that we have is clearly broken. And this is just the way it is, and I want to break this to people and let people know this, and a lot of people listening have already been through this. But the system we have is broken, the money system. And the most fundamental flaw in the economic system we have is it rewards the individual directly for his efforts. Or her efforts, sorry ladies. That's what money does. It's a way of compensating someone directly for what they do, thus creating a selfish, very selfish society. When in reality, What we really want to be doing is working as a collective unit, as brothers or sisters, as a collective family, because we're all on this rock hurtling through space together. That's why my favorite holiday is New Year's. I think it's funny we don't even all celebrate it on the same day, but like, hey, one more trip around the sun together, go humanity. But it's the only way to transition from the broken system we have that is failing us now, and it's going to cause a lot of people a tremendous amount of pain, especially if they're connected to their stuff and their money, to this group effort type of mentality, which is what we need to leave for our children. As a father, I know desperately that we need to leave this for our children. And we basically need to replace selfishness with giving, negativity with positivity, in my mind. If we do that, this is going to be so much easier on all of us. And what we collectively need to do, as many of us as possible, is just begin doing nice things for people, helping other people because it helps them out, because it is the right thing to do, because that's the new system we need to switch to. The selfishness of being compensated for everything financially won't work anymore. The banks are in trouble. If you think the residential bubble burst put the banks in trouble, wait till you see what the commercial one does. I mean, drive around and look at all the empty commercial space and realize they all have mortgages. Darn near all of them do. And there's a tremendous more amount of square footage. These are tremendously more expensive. Commercial real estate is by nature. And it's, I believe, $10 to $1, the crisis is going to expand. The commercial end of this gets worse, and the residential end almost did in the banks alone. So for anyone hoping the economy in the old sense is recovering, it's a delusion that they're trying to spread through the media right now. It's not going to come back. It simply cannot. It's a broken system, and humanity is going to have to move forward to just helping each other out and just getting past receiving the paper for our own individual efforts and move more towards a trust in one another, in knowing that everybody is working for the group. Why? Because it's going to be an absolute necessity. That's why. For our children. We all need to find this common ground that, hey, we're in a tough time here. We're in an enormous time of change. And I've always been a firm believer, even though I haven't been long enough to live through it. I'm a huge studier of international history and ancient history, and I've seen time and time again, in the times of the greatest crisis, come times of absolute genius and complete change. And that's what's going to happen through this, because it'll be the greatest crisis humanity has faced. And how it'll be for you personally depends solely upon how you look at it, your outlook. Do you view it negatively or positively? Do you view it negatively as though I'm losing everything I had, I'm losing my money, I'm losing my stuff? Or do you view it positively as, all right, I get to be a part of this transition forward? Do you look at your children and say, hey, a lot of people my age have known since the day we were born, or the day we could think, that our great-grandchildren, our grandchildren have a major freaking problem on their hands. Somebody's going to have to be left holding the bag. I think a lot of us weren't aware it would be us, and that's the truth, but personally, I'm proud to be a part of that. That's given 1,000 years, 10,000 years, our contributions today will have a tremendous, great impact on humanity. And, our great-great-great-great-great-grandchildren are just as precious as our children. They really are. We just need to be more long-sighted and less selfish, and know that they're still going to be there at some point, and make this transition for them. So economically, that's how we make the transition. The money systems are failing. They're going to fail almost entirely, no matter what is going to be done to hold them up, because essentially it's all paper money. Gold will retain a great amount of value for a while here. During the transition, that would be a wonderful investment to make, because we do still all have to live in terms of money for a while here. And for how long, it's hard to say. Will it be different on December 22nd, 2012? No. Everything's a process, and it will take us some time to transition from one way of life to another. But, by the end of my life, I hope there's a significant difference. I hope the world is a lot different. I hope, I'm sort of hoping we dimensionally get shot to that other parallel universe, so this planet, it is somewhat dirty, but can be cleaned up, can heal on its own a little bit, and we can sort of have a fresh start on a clean place. That said, all this carbon dioxide and all this nonsense that they've been feeding us, saying that this is what's causing the changes in the world, is just that. It's nonsense. I don't believe that. Don't believe that. We can cause smog, but we're not ruining the entire Earth. Those are 2012 changes that you're seeing. That's what's causing the glaciers to melt. that's what's causing all this stuff, and they, it's simply geared to use us.